Hello, this is Dr. Lewerenz, Longevity Health Institute here in Rochester Hills, Michigan. So I've been meaning to speak to you about this, been using it here for about a year. It's a new part of integrative regenerative medicine and wellness and natural medicine, and that is the use of peptides. The science of peptides is not new in the world. It's actually in Eastern Europe and in Russia. These are very, very well studied and developed for the last several decades. There are prescriptions that are actually used that are technically manufactured and initially start as a peptide. But let me back up what a peptide actually is and why we would use it here for your health and regeneration and healing at Longevity Health Institute here. And it's got wonderful effects, but I want to make sure you understand it. Now, I'll probably have future videos here coming up on very specific peptides. There's many peptides, hundreds that have been developed. In America, there's a good 40 or 50 that are approved for research and integrative alternative medical, if you will, use. But they are highly scrutinized because of the pharmaceutical industry. But let me give you some background. What is a peptide? So the easiest way to explain a peptide, because it's based on size and weight and things like this, is everybody understands what a protein is. A protein, actually a big structure, obviously a building structure. We consume a lot of proteins in meats and beans and some plants, etc. And then we've heard of what a amino acid is. Amino acid are essential to the body and in building and regeneration and maintaining of health, muscle, bone, connective tissue, mucosal tissue, etc. So amino acids actually in chains, 5 to 18, actually can make a peptide. So you have amino acids, link amino acids together, you build a peptide, you fold peptides over, and you have multiple, over 18 of them, you build a protein. And essentially, a peptide then is a multitude of natural amino acids linked together in a chain, and then they'll fold over and etc. Okay, and some can be smaller peptides in a chain, and some can be longer, but again, they're natural, essentially, amino acids, okay? And names of peptides that are common are like ipamorelin, samorelin, CJC 1295, BPC, I could go on and on. But the ones you may have heard of that have been out for a number of years and is slightly popular here in America are samorelin and ipamorelin. So we use a few here more commonly than others, but what are peptides? What do they do? So they have the ability to heal and regenerate, and a lot of them act as growth hormone secretagogues, so they increase your natural production of growth hormone from your pituitary, but also they can also work as growth hormone releasing hormone like stimulators, again for growth hormone, but they can also work on regeneration of tissue and anti-inflammation and immune building and metabolic enhancing and thermogenic effects, which are like fat burning and weight loss. And so they have many different benefits and a regenerative ability, and really should be incorporated in a lot of wellness prevention and anti-aging longevity practices like ours. And we use them very little and very often, but again, in the right place, right timing, right purpose. Remember, I always practice a health foundation, a 6-point model to get yourself well first, solve your goals, and we have goals for you to put you in that wellness model. And we're always going to focus first on genetics, your hormones, your gut health and nutrients, detox, and toxins in your body, stress, mind-body interaction, and also structural or pain issues. These are all important, so you can't miss part of that model and expect a good health foundation, okay? But again, a peptide can often, enhance some of your benefits of this 6-point model, and they can enhance and reverse some aging. Yes, I said reverse some aging, because there is some European studies on this. some peptides actually not only have an effect on you in the short term, but actually can regenerate and slow down the degradation of telomeres, which are the DNA end caps that essentially deteriorate as we age and essentially a big part of our aging process. So anything you can do to slow down your telomeres and shortening and slow down the damage to DNA, you're going to live longer and live better. So there's an old saying with peptides with some Russian physicians, and that is, and I love this saying, when we put you on a peptide for a specific reason, you're going to thank us in 60 to 90 days for that specific reason and be happy. You're going to be amazed in 6 months to a year, and you're going to be in almost praising standpoint in 10 to 15 years. And the reason is because of this, is that you're changing and stabilizing DNA and essentially making yourself more youthful. So, and there's many different ways. It's very complicated to explain peptides and how they're used, etc. But I do want to give you a little brief thing about them and mention just a couple of them. Briefly, a peptide is an injection. You don't do it every day. You can do it multiple times a day, but you don't do it daily. You take some breaks, etc. Okay, it has to be a subcutaneous injection because of the size of the molecule. Just like you take amino acid drinks, okay, you will not, a chain of amino acids that are a peptide will not orally absorb, okay, or they'll very limitedly absorb. So you use them as an injection to get this more profound effect. Now, usually you'll get the effects, which this is really interesting, in your bloodstream only for a few hours. But you actually can enhance and change the DNA and affect you at that kind of level indefinitely. So that's what's really impressive. In fact, they've done some studies on this where the DNA and the telomere enhancing is actually months with one treatment, which is just kind of crazy to think of, but that's why they're so amazing in a lot of ways. So the other thing is that I really like is there is no documented or researched or evidence of harm. Love that. Something that's well and natural, an amino acid that has no real significant side effects and documented risks. So it seems to be very, very, very safe. We love that, and I think that's why the pharmaceutical world has gotten involved in peptides and made some diabetic drugs out of them already, and captured that market and knows the benefits of these, and this is why. So let me explain a couple things. So ipamorelin, it is a secretagogue to make growth hormone. It's going to help you build muscle, increase your metabolism, burn fat, and often we use it here for those types of things in weight loss and in enhancing and longevity. CJC 1295 is another one we use here with weight loss, and again, it used the right way creates a thermogenesis, and that is an effect on burning your fat. It increases that metabolic rate, increases growth hormone. It has some repair ability also in tissue, but that's what happens. The other lovely thing is this. Whether you're looking for this or not, when you use ipamorelin, you increase your melatonin release. So we do a dose in the evening to get all the growth hormone benefits, but you actually sleep much better, much deeper. I've even had people say, I didn't even know I had a sleep issue, and it was, I sleep pretty decent, 7 hours or so, 8 hours, but man, I sleep like a baby now and wake up regenerated and full of energy and feel wonderful. And again, that is the melatonin enhancing release of ipamorelin or of these secretagogues that affect your pituitary. Now there's other ones that are more specific for sleep just itself, certain peptides, but you'll get that extra benefit when you're using ipamorelin. Another one that is often used in repair, and I will put out a video that is specifically for this peptide. It's called BPC 157. This peptide is actually very regenerative, especially on the gut and on tissue, tendon, ligament, etc. But on mucosal healing, bowel, leaky gut, digestive, chronic issues, this is a lovely peptide that actually enhances the lining or your epithelial cells in your digestive system to regenerate. So instead of it possibly taking years, it can take months and turn around a bad digestive system and enhance and improve things that might be inflammatory, like Crohn's and irritable bowel and ulcerative colitis, etc. So again, I'm going to do a separate video on that. I want to introduce you to peptides. They're great. We get great results with them, and they're very enhancing an overall wellness preventative picture. And like I said, regenerative. And again, you probably, if we put you on a peptide and you're one of our patients, and they're used very personalized and specifically after we create a good health foundation, okay, you'll thank us in a few months. You'll be extremely happy and grateful in 6 months, and probably in 5, 10, 15 years. You know what I mean. You will, you'll be much more youthful than your age-matched peers. So again, this is a short take on peptides. Hope you understand that and it helps enlighten you. This is Dr. Lewerenz, Longevity Health Institute. Continue being well. We're always here to help, and we are always accepting new patients around the country. Spoke a couple today from the East Coast and one from Colorado. But we are happy to help and enhance your life and loved ones. This is Dr. Lewerenz. Be well.